All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Detroit Lions in today's video. Now, I do want to get into Rocky Sin and Avante Maddox because those are Lions moves in the last 24 hours. But DJ Reed, Levi Onwuzurike getting re-signed, but DJ Reed, Roy Lopez re-signing Derek Barnes, re-signing Marcus Davenport, moving off Carlton Davis, but upgrading him with DJ Reed. I really like the Lions offseason thus far, and a lot of these moves tell me what they're going to do in the draft. Like, they're going to draft an edge rusher in the first 3 rounds, 100,000%. But every time I turn on the TV or I read an article, everyone freaks out about Detroit. They like the DJ Reed move. They like some of the guys they're getting off of. They like getting rid of Zadarius Smith. They like moving off some of these players. They like all the guys they brought in. But for some reason, it always circles back to, oh, well, they lost both their coordinators. They lost Ben Johnson, they lost Aaron Glenn. So, they used to be a top 4 unanimous NFL team, but now, I don't know, man, they lost both coordinators. And the only reasoning anyone ever gives is, well, look at Philadelphia. Just look at Philadelphia, man. The Lions are toast. Look at Philly a couple of years ago. They lost both their coordinators after making the Super Bowl, and then they won like 10 straight games the next year. Anyways, neither here nor there. That's getting a little bit ranty. The Lions are still a top 5 roster in the National Football League, and even using the Eagles bit as a comparison, Jared Goff's not Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is not Jared Goff. Those are 2 extremely different quarterbacks. You have to build an offense around Jalen Hurts. Jared Goff's completely different. So, folks, welcome back to the channel. Obviously, we're talking about the Detroit Lions. Let me take this in out. But before we do, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Lions fans, if we can run this up, I've had a Lions video do good in a couple of months now. People keep wondering where they are. Maybe you guys aren't seeing them. Try and get this one to 150 likes, folks. That goes an extremely long way. So we'll start it off with DJ Reed real quick. But I want to give you an understanding of the Lions roster. And I think we actually did this a week ago. Here's the on paper, day 1 starters for the Detroit Lions for 2025. Aiden Hutchinson, DJ Reader, Aleem McNeil, Marcus Davenport, Alex Anzalone, Jack Campbell, Terrion Arnold, Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph, DJ Reed, Amik Robertson. I mean, that's a pretty damn good defense in my opinion. And so even though they struggled in the pass defense last year, they were 30th in the NFL, giving up 244 passing yards per game. They were a top 5 rushing defense and the seventh best scoring defense in general. So the first big move they made was bringing in DJ Reed, who just in general, not to rag on Carlton Davis, is a massive upgrade. And one of the biggest reasons, and I keep saying this in these Lions videos, is availability. I mean, he's available. Carlton Davis hasn't played over 13 games in like 4 or 5 years. So DJ Reed, maybe he'll miss a game or 2, but he's going to be on the field, obviously barring something unforeseen, but availability is one of my favorite things about DJ Reed versus Carlton Davis. He forced tight window throws on 37.3% of targets that came his way last year. That was the 4th highest rate in the National Football League. The dude is a workaholic, and just the way he carries himself, you just know he's going to fit the Detroit Lions culture. Day 1. I mean, this is the definition of a professional. Everybody loves DJ Reed. Also, I found this funny. I found this interesting. DJ Reed, the new cornerback for the Detroit Lions, and then you have DJ Reeder, defensive tackle for the Lions. Haha, everyone laughs now. Reed also earned a coverage grade of 66.1 in man coverage last year, which was tied for top 28th in the NFL last season. And as we know, they're still projected, even though Aaron Glenn's no longer the defensive coordinator, they're still projected scheme-wise to be a heavy man defense. All right. Now, he's also generated a 70-plus PFF coverage grade in each of his past 6 seasons. So this is like either the best or the second best, depending on where you view Charvarius Ward or DJ Reed. It's one of the best 2 cornerbacks available on the market, and he's now a member of the Detroit Lions. So this is clear-cut cornerback number 1 of the future. And then sticking with the defense back room, I wanted to talk about these 2 guys. Avante Maddox was just signed like 2 hours ago, I believe. 28 years old, started his career with the Philadelphia Eagles after being drafted in the 4th round of the 2018 NFL Draft. 7-year NFL career. He's appeared in 81 games, started in about 40 or 41 41 of those. He's recorded 4 career interceptions, 270 tackles, 13 tackles for loss, and 8 forced fumbles. But once again, speaking of culture, because Brad Holmes doesn't just bring anybody into this roster, whether they're a day one starter or the 53rd guy on the roster, culture. How does he fit? How does he fit our team? Well, Avante's a Detroit native. Now, I saw an article that said he went to Martin Luther King High School in the heart of Detroit. Fact check that if you want, but he is a Detroit native. In 2024, he appeared in all 17 games with Philadelphia, only had 3 starts though, so keep that in mind when you hear the stats. He had 19 total tackles, 8 of those were solo, 5 passes defended, and he appeared in all 4 postseason games, including a huge pass, or not a huge because it was a blowout, but a nice pass defense on Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. So I like that fit. Detroit guy, been in the NFL, and you're starting to see a trend. Like Avante technically might not make the roster. Rock Ya-Sin technically might not make the roster. I'd probably go more with the latter. But Roy Lopez, another good example, even like re-signing Marcus Davenport, Levi Onwuzurike, et cetera, they're just building the roster from the bottom as well. Like they're not a super top-heavy team. They were last season because of all the injuries, but this is what championship teams do in the offseason when you're coming off a 13, 14 win season. You don't need to make a huge splash every single day of free agency. You go out there and you get Avante Maddoxes. So that's why I like it. Now, Rock Ya-Sin, I don't feel great about Rock Ya-Sin. I do love the way he plays football. I've been covering the Raiders for a couple of seasons now. He only played in Las Vegas for, I believe, 1 season a couple of years ago. Last year, he spent it with San Francisco. He played in 13 games, but he was primarily a special teams guy, and San Francisco had the worst special teams in the NFL last year, or at least one of the worst special teams. So I like the Rock Ya-Sin move just because I know who he is and I like the way he plays. This is a former 2nd-round pick from 2019, so it is high upside as well. But to me, what the Detroit Lions are doing in free agency thus far is just raising their floor. They're raising their floor. We know what this team's ceiling is. You know, Jameson Williams, right? Sam Laporta, Jahmyr Gibbs, etc. We know what their ceiling is, but they're raising their floor. They're just becoming a more rounded, complete football team. So that's why I like it. I was never really anticipating Max Crosby traded to Detroit, Trey Hendrickson traded to Detroit. That wouldn't shock me if he was, or if they made a big time move for an edge rusher, but I don't really anticipate that happening. I think they're going to use the draft like they always have and go out there and get the best talent available. And one of those is going to be a guard for the left side, most likely, and one of those is definitely going to be an edge rusher. Folks, that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. But folks, end of the day, the Detroit Lions secondary is so much better than they were at the end of last year. Thank you for watching. Like I said, hit that like button, hit that sub button if you haven't already. Give me a grade for the Lions free agency thus far down below, and let me know who your favorite move they've made thus far is. Peace.